Yeah, and before we're going to have much more on this fight, but let's get out to another teammate of ours. That's right, 3D Shooter's Paradise. He used to let him fly, not only for Georgia Tech, but the Orlando Magic, making sure he kept the floor space for Shaq. Hey, 3D, just let me ask you, what is the feel like there? What's going on in the locker room? What's kind of the tempo like there in L.A. tonight?
I even got one better for you, C-Web. The vibe in L.A. is real laid back, believe it or not. Obviously, everyone's talking about the skirmish from the other night. Talking to LeBron, talking to Rondo, they're ready to move on. Obviously, Brandon Ingram got out of character a little bit. But just seeing guys shooting around to shoot around, talking, they understand that this is something that can bring them closer together. But let's face it, on the basketball court, can they bring it every night on the defensive end to try to turn things around tonight?
That's what's up, D. Scott. We appreciate you. And let's get over to Studio J and let our guys talk about the upcoming game. The 1-2 Magic, they head out against the 2-1 Celtics. And, fellas, I didn't realize Orlando lost 14 of the last 15 visits, to Boston. You guys think it's going to be something different tonight?
Woo, guys, that is an interesting one. A lot more optimism in Orlando. You know, Aaron Gordon seems to be like he could be a franchise caliber player. Mo Bamba and Isaac's young but inconsistent, but they do have a future. What are your thoughts about, before we get to Boston, about this Magic team and the potential they have to eventually become relevant again in the Eastern Conference?
Well, I think they do have potential. I mean, I think going and losing to Charlotte by 30 the night before and then bouncing back against, obviously, Ben Simmons' team, playing against Philly, they showed some promise. But I think scoring consistently has been their issue. Vooch has done a good job, obviously knotting a triple-double last game. Fournier, Gordon, but the load falls on them, and after that, you don't know where you're going to get your scoring production from.
You're totally right, Candace, and you said it best. Aaron Gordon has played phenomenal, but is he a #1 guy, GA? I think he has potential to be. Vucevic, at times, he takes over, and like you said, Fournier, they don't have a #1 guy. And then with most young teams, I'm okay with them offensively. They'll go up and down. But their defense is not going up and down. It's just been down. And I think that's the one thing for them is with Mo Bamba, with that size, with that athleticism, I think they have to be and should be a better defensive team. They're not there right now. As of today, they're not a good defensive team.
Well, speaking of defense, the Celtics are there right now, #2 in defensive rating here early in the season, and obviously still trying to transition Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving back. But one guy who hasn't had any slippage or transition to talk about has been Jason Tatum. He has been incredible to start this season and really started to become the guy offensively for this Celtics team. Do you foresee that being the case once you get Kyrie and Gordon Hayward all the way back into the mix?
You know, I do, Jay, and I think the reason why is because he had that #1 label on him last year in the playoffs. And for Jason Tatum, I saw it in high school. I saw it in college. I just didn't know it would be here today, this early. I thought it was maybe 3 or 4 more years down the road. But I think he has such a total package. And it also helps where you're not getting double-teamed because of Kyrie. You're not getting double-teamed because of Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown. And I think it's one of the best bigs in the league as far as a guy like Al Horford, that when you cut, he can make the pass and he understands how to get you going. So I think he still can be the #1 guy. They can go through him, but ultimately Kyrie will be that guy at the end once he gets healthy to be the #1 option.
Yeah, I think that you don't have as many games going in. Obviously, during the first 3 games, Tatum has been that guy, but Kyrie's coming off an injury. He's trying to work his way back in. I think at the point guard spot, that's the toughest spot to come back. You have the ball in your hands a lot. You're distributing. You're trying to find a balance with this team that had success last year without you in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a balance. But at the end of the day, we do know Kyrie is the best one-on-one option in the NBA for me.
For me, GA is Brad Stevens. I mean, right now, Gordon Hayward and Kyrie are not all the way back. Him juggling this basically 10, 11-man roster, getting everybody playing time, being happy. It was easy last year. There was no Gordon Hayward and Kyrie. But it's going to be a little challenge for him. But I think, you know, Brad has the type temperament, and all those guys want to win. So I think they might be all right.
All right. Well, before we get back to C-Web and the guys, we have a tweet we want to take a look at first and continue to reach out to all of us. Players only. And I am glad Candace Parker is part of